Hey guys, welcome back, and today we have another week of Broadway grosses, so let's get into it. Up first, we have & Juliet, which went from 99% to 95%, and $1,118,000 to $1,167,944 this week. A Beautiful Noise went from 59% to 58% this week, and $693K last week to this week's $746K. And again, the jury's still out on A Beautiful Noise on will it close this year? Will it not? I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't close. But I wouldn't also not be surprised if it does close. Anyways, Back to the Future did 99% last week and 96% this week, going from 1,374,815 to 1,218,043 this week. So not a bad drop, all things considered, and it's doing kind of the numbers it was doing before the winter time, so it's doing great overall. Days of Wine and Roses played to 81% capacity this week, and 490K overall, which is pretty solid, almost at 500,000. Did a lot better than I thought. These prestige musicals tend to do these kind of numbers. The capacity isn't amazing, but you know what? The average ticket for $76, it still managed to bring in 490K. It is a limited engagement, so I'm not putting too much, not wowness, but I'm not putting too much emphasis on the business side of it. But it did better than I thought. And it's almost at 500K, so that's pretty good. I mean, listen, 490K for any musical is not good. But for a prestige musical like Days of Wine and Roses, that's less caring about the financials and more about the awards and all that stuff, it's okay. They're willing to take the risk. They consider this a dub. And I would consider this pretty solid. Hopefully we can hit a 5 next week. I mean, realistically, it should go into the 5s next week. But these musicals tend to stay in the 4s. But Gutenberg did 98% this week compared to last week's 97% and made $1,208,735 this week. That is insane. That's crazy that it's making that amount of money. It's crazy. Hadestown did 100% capacity this week and 831K this week compared to last week's 833K. Very happy that Hadestown is doing so much better. These are exactly the kind of numbers it needs to do in order to survive, and so who knows? Hadestown might last longer than I thought, and I'm very happy about that. Hamilton did 100% capacity both weeks, same for Hadestown. Just to preface that, going from $1,988,349 to $1,901,850. Harmony did 76% this week and 62% last week, going from 445K to 534K, which is an improvement, but I still think it's going to close, and these are still terrible numbers overall. How to Dance in Ohio did 63% this week and 67% last week, going from 347K to 387K. At this point, it's just, come on, like, this is the worst performing musical in years. Kimbo, which is closing, did 91% this week compared to last week's 89%, and 546K to 571K, which is pretty average business for Kimbo. And this show is losing a ton of money also, and I don't know why they're staying open until April, but I'm not sad about it. I'm not like, boo, I love Kimberly. Merrily We Roll Along did 1,834,867 compared to last week's 1,785,231, selling out. Moulin Rouge went from 99.63 to 99.19, and 1,335,524 to 1,171,431, which is a pretty big drop. Not something you like to see. Shucked finished off with its best week ever with $1,111,000 compared to last week's 924K, going from 97% to 98%, and they're going to turn it into a movie musical, which I think is super cool, and I'm glad Shucked ended on a good note. Six made $1 million. Spamalot also made $1 million, and it did last week as well, going from 91% last week to 87% this week. And Spamalot is a surprise hit. It's made $1 million more than some of the newest musicals. I'm happy that it's doing so well. I think this is its 4th, 5th week doing $1 million, so I know it's only the tickets are only on sale until July, but this thing is this thing's probably going to extend. Sweeney did 2,111,146 compared to last week's 2,037,853 and 100% capacity. This was Groban and Annalie Ashford's last week. Expect the grosses to go down significantly for the next couple of weeks. And those are the grosses. Overall, a pretty solid week for most musicals. Not a lot of things have changed. I still think Harmony, Had It In Ohio are on the chopping block. Spamalot is doing way better than we thought. Shucked ended on a good note. Akimbo's closing. And Gutenberg, Hadestown is doing a lot better. And Days of Wine and Roses is off to a pretty solid start. So those are the grosses. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you next week. Peace.